I think the circuit breaker helps a lot, and I think a lot of you can relate to that. Working from home, you sort of, save a lot of time from commute to different meetings, and then you can do one meeting and hop on into another meeting. But again, writing a book, it wasn't that difficult for me because it was all about stories that I've encountered. One of the stories that we managed to squeeze in was actually about the funeral cases that I've handled during this COVID period. Being a mummy, I also try to spend some time, a lot of time if I could, especially in the morning when she wakes up. That's the cutest, where I get to chit-chat with her and she talks. She's learning how to talk now. During COVID, because we are not able to go out and meet other people, so I did a lot of exercise. I bring her out for cycling, bring her out, and I think in some of my previous video I talk about it. So just when I'm doing exercise, I'll bring her along. So that's sort of, kill two birds with one stone. That helps a lot. The only thing that I find I'm not able to do recently is salsa dancing, which is something that I missed a lot. Yeah. Yes, so a little unknown fact that a lot of people think or assume that all funeral directors are super brave and like very gung-ho, right? I don't watch horror movies, so please don't invite me to watch a horror movie. The last movie I watched was It, okay? I ate, and half the time, no, in fact, most of the time, my hands are over my eyes. And of course, Eugene Tay's Supernatural, Confession of a Supernatural World, Life, whatever. I don't watch that, okay? I never watch that. Yeah, it freaks me out. Sometimes you get people who try to play a trick on you, and then they will send a video and you're just watching a normal thing, and then all of a sudden this woman, like the Zhenzi, the girl with the hair, yeah, it just pop out on your screen. So even though I'm in a funeral, if you think about it, the departed are departed who could no longer speak, so they don't hurt me. And I enjoyed letting them know how I'm going to be taking care of them. But I don't enjoy knowing the unknown, which, yes, that will really, mess up my imagination. So, yes. In fact, when I came out with this book in 2017, we just started our Showers of Love. Showers of Love is a service which I mentioned in my other videos that was not covered in this. Another part that was missing, and we have it in the new edition, is I actually started another service called Angel Star. So after we started Showers of Love, we realized that there are also children that we take care of and we send them off in a dignified farewell. So I wanted to include that chapter in. One of the reasons was also because in this book I talk about how children deal with death in their family or their loved ones, Nai Nai or Gong Gong. But in this book I talk about how children face their own departure. And I talk about Misha because she's only 6 years old and she planned her entire funeral with us through the mother. So every time we wanted to plan something, we would text the mom and say, does Misha likes this? So the outfit, the balloons that we use, the photograph that we use were all decided by her. So you can actually read more about her, in the link below. And so I talk about it and about how children faces their own the expiry date and how brave they are. And when I ask them, the parents, the motivation for them to stay alive, it's just as innocent as they just want mommy and daddy to be happy. And that's all. So we started that service and I wanted to share more about, Angel Star also taking care of unborn fetus, because I realized that there's a lot of parents out there who a mom could have experienced a miscarriage or unwanted pregnancy, and they have to do a forced abortion, and they don't have a place or a safe haven to say, I want to send off my child. So whether is it an unborn fetus, I believe that every single life and soul really deserve a dignified farewell. And I also work with the Angel Hearts. So they are the one where and I'm sure a lot of you will support their cause, because what this lady Felicia is doing is she gathers all these wedding gowns and then she make it into like very small and delicate gowns. It's all sold by volunteers, We are recently exploring a project with them where we will get them to sew teddy bears to give to the Angel Stars as well. So please support their cause if you have wedding gowns that you would like to donate to them, or if you're very good with sewing, help them, and then help them spread these words at their cost. Now that I became a mom, in fact, which sort of reminded me one of the stories that I added in just before it went to print. In my book, I talk about 白发人送黑发人, which means the parents have to send off their child. It was when my baby girl was 4 months old, and I have to take care of a child who was just a few days younger than her. And I remember when I picked up the call and the father said, he's planning a funeral for his daughter. And when I asked for the age, and the minute he told me, I just felt like a cold, just something cold just went up my spine, and I was very affected that night. So immediately we had our team to transfer the child into our care, and then also to escort the parents to our place so that they could actually care for their daughter. And I remember being in the office, looking into the CCTV, and I was not able to bring myself to come down and join the parents because I really felt the pain, and I don't know if I could control myself. So that night, I just went home and then I hugged my baby, very tight, and it was very, very sad for me. The next day when we had the funeral for her, I remember telling one of my staff to be the celebrant, to be the MC for the one who's officiating the funeral, and I gave her the script that she should be saying. But the next morning she had to be called into for another job, so it seems to be fated that I have to take care of the child's funeral. I remember just being out there on the podium and talking about the funeral was very, very challenging for me. And after the funeral, I remember once, the casket gone into the cremator, and as we were coming down, Mommy was very, very strong. Mommy didn't shed a tear, and I was concerned. So I actually went up to her and I told her to let it go if she has to. And I also told her I could really feel her pain because I also have a child of the same age. And immediately she cried and we both hugged. And she said to me that she really wants to cry, but she has to be very strong for her 2 other daughters. So that really, affected me, in fact, for a while, because, and it still continues to affect me because we are so close to death all the time, and also taking care of Angel Star. You sort of embrace every moment. So I really cherish every moment I have with my daughter. And it's hard. This is something that I think that's the occupational hazard, being a funeral director, where we empathize so closely with family members. I remember just last month I was taking care of a funeral, bidding goodbye to a son, and I had his story, so I was a funeral celebrant for his service. At the end, I just broke down, but of course not to the point where I couldn't officiate the funeral. But I broke down because the fact about what the mom has shared about how incredible this boy was, it just affected me. But at the same time, I also feel that the boy has really taught the family a lot, about kinship, about cherishing moments. The nurse also came out and shared a eulogy, and the nurse actually said that he often talked about how much he loved his parents, how much he loved his siblings, but he doesn't share it openly to his parents, because being a traditional Asian family, we don't talk about I love you, I'm sorry, I thank you, and I forgive you. So that's also the reason why after I heard the eulogy from the nurse, I realized that is the message that I really hope any readers who read my book, if you flip to the last chapter about life lesson, I really hope that this book will inspire you to be quick to say all the messages that you want to say to your family members, because you really never know when is the last. So if you would like to get this book, come down here to Hearts Coffee Epigram. I love the energy here. It's just across Maxwell Market. Come here, have a cup of coffee. I love the coffee. You have to try this latte gula melaka. I love it. As you can see, there's tons of books, and the smell of the books. If you love books, you will love this place. It's actually a hazard whenever I come here because I end up buying books, you know. So do come here, and then you can get a copy of my book, or you can even write to us and I can sign a copy for you as well. Thank you. See you.